Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Bhakti Madhavi Mataji. Thank you for welcoming everyone. So we are continuing to see from Sri Brhad Bhagavatamrta. This is Book 2 and today's session number 5. Let's start with the prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanaatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripa tamaham vande Shri Gurum Deenatarinam. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Radhanath Swamin iti namine. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin iti namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschayata Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Respectful obeisances to all the Vaishnavas on the call. All glories to Srila Sanatana Goswami, the author of Sri Brhad Bhagavatamrta. So we are continuing to see from Book 2. Book 2 is called as the Glories of Goloka Vrindavan, and we are seeing the story of Gopakumar's travels. So far in Book 2, we have seen how the Brahmin from this place called as Pragjyotishpur, Assam, traveled through various places and finally he arrived at the bank of the river Yamuna. After taking his bath there, he went further and he moved on to Keshi Tirtha. In Keshi Tirtha, he saw a cowherd boy who was chanting a mantra and crying in a very, very sweet voice. So he was instantaneously attracted towards this cowherd boy and he went and started speaking to him. He developed trust in him and he asked him the life's most important questions. What is my sadhya and what is the sadhana? So the cowherd boy, Gopakumar, the hero of this story, he began telling his story to the Brahmin so that the Brahmin would be convinced of what exactly he must do and how he must follow. So Gopakumar began telling his story of how he was originally from the Govardhan area and he initially met his spiritual master in that particular area. From his spiritual master, he received some instructions and he also received the Gopal mantra and he began traveling. So he traveled through various places. First, he met a Vaishnava worshipping Shalagram Srila in the bank of the river Ganges. And then he further went on to the capital of that area. And there he became the king of that area because he was a very nice person and he was noted by the king and his subjects. Since the king was sonless, this Gopakumar actually ascended to the throne. Because he was chanting his mantra, somehow or the other, he didn't have so much interests in all the political affairs. But however, eventually there were some problems in the temple management. In that kingdom, prasadam was not being properly honored. So therefore, Gopakumar, he felt somewhat very, very uncomfortable and he didn't know what to do. Exactly at that point, a few Vaishnavas from the most beautiful Kshetra, Purushottam Kshetra of Jagannath Puri, visited his kingdom. They came to his palace and they began glorifying Mahaprasadam of Sri Jagannath. They told him that in this Purushottam Kshetra, prasadam is so worshipable. Even if the Lord's prasadam is completely dried up, still whatever condition it may be, even if it is being touched by outcasts or dogs or whatever it may be, still this prasadam is considered as pure as Lord Vishnu himself. And everybody accepts this prasadam without any hesitation, without any time, place, or circumstance, whatever the situation may be, everyone accepts Mahaprasadam as good as Vishnu. So when Gopakumar was hearing all these glories of Mahaprasadam from various scriptures, from the mouth of the Vaishnavas from Jagannath Puri, his heart was filled with ecstasy. And this is where we stopped in our previous class. So Gopakumar, he was so happy to hear from the Vaishnavas that no decent person would ever refuse Jagannath's Mahaprasadam or complain, oh, that this prasadam is old or it is impure, or deliberate, oh, maybe I'm not yet showered, so I may not accept this prasadam. Like that, nobody ever thinks. As soon as they receive the Mahaprasadam, they just take it as the greatest mercy of the Lord, and they just accept it as it is. So, like this, when he heard such beautiful glories of Jagannath Mahaprasadam, his mind was very impressed. Now, we heard many scriptural references about Jagannath Mahaprasadam in our previous session, but Jagannath Mahaprasadam, how did it become so celebrated? Why is it so extra special? To explain that, there is actually a very famous pastime from the scriptures, and this pastime is also quoted in Chaitanya Mangal of Lochan Das Thakur. So we'll quickly look at that story, how it became so celebrated. So the story goes like this. Once, Narada Muni, he went to Vaikunta so that he could go and engage in the Lord's service for some time. So at that time, he served Mother Lakshmi very attentively as she was serving Lord Narayan. So Mother Lakshmi was very pleased with Narada Muni's humility and service. And she told Narada Muni, my dear child, you served us so nicely, so you ask for any boon you want. So when Narada Muni was offered a boon like this by Mother Lakshmi, Narada Muni told Mother Lakshmi that you must promise me that whatever I ask for, you will surely fulfill it. So Lakshmi said, okay, sure, I will give any boon that you desire. You can ask for whatever you want. So at that time, Narada Muni, he requested Lakshmi Devi that he wanted the Mahaprasad remnants of Lord Narayan. So when he asked like this, Lakshmi Devi's face slightly changed, her mood changed. She became very worried. And then she told Narada, my dear son, please ask me for something other than this, any other boon that you want. I will give you any other boon you want. So Narada Muni said, no, you said you will fulfill my desire. I want only Mahaprasadam of Lord Narayan. So then Lakshmi Devi told him very sweetly, she said, actually, just a few days ago, the Lord instructed me not to give his prasadam to anybody. So please understand, this is the Lord's personal order, and I cannot give his prasadam to anyone. So when Narada Muni heard this, he said, no, you promised me that you will grant me this boon. Somehow or the other, I want the Lord's Mahaprasadam. So like this, when he started insisting, Lakshmi Devi, she was in great trouble. She didn't know what to do. So she told Narada Muni, okay, I will try to see what I can do in this matter. So at noon, when Lakshmi was serving lunch to her beloved Lord Sri Narayan, she was serving very nicely, but still her face looked very worried. Seeing her lotus face withered like that, Lord Narayan could understand that there was some problem. So he called Lakshmi Devi and he asked her, what happened? Why do you look so worried? What is the problem? You're serving so nicely. Is everything okay? What makes you so worried? So at that time, Lakshmi Devi, she explained her situation about her giving a promise to Narada Muni and Narada Muni asking for a boon that he wanted to taste the Lord's Mahaprasadam. So then Lord Narayan, he just comforted Lakshmi Devi and he told her not to cry. And he said, there is a way out. So when I'm looking away, when I'm looking elsewhere and doing something else, at that time, without my notice, you take away the Mahaprasadam and you go and give it to Narada So Lakshmi Devi became very, very happy. And correctly, when the Lord was looking at a different direction, he had turned his face away. At that time, Lakshmi Devi took the opportunity. She grabbed the plate of Mahaprasadam and she went running to Narada Muni and she gave the Mahaprasadam to Narada Muni in such a way that Lord Narayan did not notice. So Narada was so happy. He was so happy. He took the Mahaprasadam from the plate and he popped it into his mouth. So the minute he popped it into his mouth, Narada Muni burst into ecstasy. So he began dancing and he was jumping and he was singing the praise of Lord Narayan and he was extremely excited and he had ruptured into an ecstasy because he had tasted Mahaprasadam. So as he was dancing in such great bliss, his ecstatic emotions increased and increased and increased, and he started dancing like a madman, and he traveled all around the universe, and he just couldn't control himself. Narada Muni was so excited. And as Narada Muni was holding his veena and running like this from one planet to the other in ecstasy of tasting Lord Narayan's Mahaprasadam, he came to Mount Kailash, where Lord Shiva and his consort Parvati were sitting. So when Lord Shiva observed that Narada Muni was dancing like a madman and he was so excited, Lord Shiva stopped him and asked him, "What happened to you? You're always very ecstatic, but today you seem to be extremely ecstatic. So what is the mercy that you especially got today?" So at that time, Narada Muni told him how he managed to get the Lord's Mahaprasadam. And just by honoring the Lord's Mahaprasadam, he began dancing in ecstasy. So when Lord Shiva heard this wonderful news that Narada Muni tasted the Mahaprasadam of Lord Narayan, he said, "Oh, Narada, you're so fortunate. I'm sure you wouldn't have forgotten about me. So where is my share of Mahaprasadam? Did you bring anything for me?" He asked. So at that time, Narada Muni, he actually put his head down and he said, "I'm so sorry. In ecstasy, in my excitement of receiving the Lord's Mahaprasadam, I just ate everything by myself. I didn't think about saving something for you. I'm so sorry." So then Lord Shiva, he just looked at Narada Muni's hands and he saw that there was one grain of rice that was sticking to Narada Muni's hand. So Shiva saw that and he said, "Okay, this is more than enough for me. Just gently lift your hand and I will take away that one little grain that is sticking to your hand." So carefully Narada Muni lifted his hand and Shiva took it out from his finger and popped it into his mouth. And tasting this beautiful Mahaprasadam of Lord Narayan, Shiva now burst into ecstasy. He started dancing like a madman and he danced and danced and danced, and his dancing intensified so much so that in a flow of his dance, he started dancing the Tandava dance. Now, when Lord Shiva dances the Tandava, it means it's the time for annihilation. So everything started becoming, all the planets, they started shaking and everyone became frightened. They thought this is the end of the universe. Why is Lord Shiva dancing like this? So at that time, just to stop his dance, Parvati Devi, she entered that scene and she tried to pacify her Lord. And she tried to calm him down and she humbly approached Shiva and asked him, "What happened to you? Why are you dancing like this? It's not the time for annihilation. You seem to be in such a trance. What happened?" So then Lord Shiva managed to come out of his trance and he explained to his dear wife that, "I got to taste the Mahaprasadam of Lord Narayan. That's why I'm dancing like this." So Parvati, she asked, "Oh, you got the Mahaprasadam of Lord Narayan? Where is my share? I am your Ardhangi. I am a part of you. You would have always saved something for me. Where is my share?" So at that time, Lord Shiva, he became stunned. He could not answer because he himself just managed to get one morsel of Mahaprasadam. How is he to share that morsel of Mahaprasad? So he was a little worried. Now Parvati is going to get angry. So he couldn't answer. And then Parvati understood that he ate that morsel by himself and she got very angry. She said, I am deprived of my brother's Mahaprasad. I am deprived of Lord Narayan's Mahaprasad. How is that possible? And she got super angry, and the fire that was coming out from her anger was about to burn the entire universe. So everyone started feeling the heat from different planetary systems, and people started vacating all the planets because of the heat. All the sages and the saints, they understood that something was extremely wrong that was happening in Kailash, and they all approached Lord Vishnu. So Lord Vishnu understood the gravity of the situation, and he got onto Garuda and he started riding towards Kailash to go and stop the problems that was happening in Kailash. So when Lord Vishnu came there, Parvati, she went forward to offer her obeisances, and she told Lord Narayan, uh, what is this? I have been deprived of your Mahaprasadam. That's why I am very, very angry. How can I not get your Mahaprasadam? This is very, very unfair. So at that time, Lord Narayan, he pacified Parvati Devi and he told her that I will give you as much Mahaprasadam as you want. Please be pacified. Please give up your anger. Everybody is getting affected because both of you are, Lord Shiva is dancing like this and you're getting angry like this. So please stop this. I will give you as much as you want. Then Parvati Devi said, it is not enough if you just give me your Mahaprasad. All the living entities, all my children, everybody should get your Mahaprasad. Only then I will be satisfied. I don't want to see my children suffering like this. Even they should receive mercy of Mahaprasadam. So nobody ever should be deprived of your Mahaprasadam, just like today, how I was deprived of your Mahaprasad. So then Lord Narayan said, Tathastu, let it be so. I will make sure that my Mahaprasadam is eternally available. So he said, my dear Parvati, to fulfill your desire, I will appear in the age of Kali in Nilachal Dham. My temple will be famous for distributing my prasad. My temple will be world famous for Jagannath Mahaprasad. I will appear there and there will be an continuous supply of Mahaprasadam, and everybody, nobody will be deprived. Everybody, irrespective of their birth or irrespective of their situation, everybody will have equal opportunity to honor my Mahaprasad, and everybody, just by taking my Mahaprasad, will be liberated. However, that prasad will first be offered to you. Then only the remnants will become Mahaprasad. So this Mahaprasad will be distributed to everyone without any consideration, and I will keep you next to me. You will have your temple within the same courtyard, and you will be known as Bimala Devi, and you will be there to honor my prasad first. After you have honored, it will go out for distribution. And Lord Shiva, because he didn't share the Mahaprasadam with you, he will be at a slight distance from me, but you will remain very, very close to me. So he said like that, and he honored the request of Parvati Devi, and from that day, this Mahaprasad of Lord Jagannath became extra special. So, like that, Lord Jagannath, he appeared in Puri, and Parvati Devi is worshipped there in the name of Bimala Devi. And all of Jagannath's Mahaprasadam is first offered to her, then only it is distributed as Mahaprasad. So now, let's come back to the story of Gopakumar. So now, what to talk of Mahaprasadam of Lord Jagannath? The Brahmana Vaishnavas who had come from Jagannath Puri, they said, not only is Mahaprasadam so important or so celebrated from Jagannath Puri, even the abode of Purushottam Kshetra is actually very, very special. It is said that in Purushottam Kshetra, even the donkeys and the dogs and all the animals that live there are seen to be in four-armed form. They all appear to have spiritual bodies. All the residents of Purushottam Kshetra automatically have obtained the perfection of Sarupya, having features similar to the Lord. In fact, Lord Brahma, he states in the Brahma Purana, Aho Kshetrasya Mahatmyam Samantattasha Yojanam Divishta yatra pashyanti sarvan eva chaturbhujan. The glories of Purushottam Dham are extraordinary. The Devatas from the heavenly planets look upon all living beings within a radius of 10 yojanas of the sacred land as four-handed residents of Vaikuntha. In the Garuda Purana, Vyasadeva goes on to explain Yatra tishtajana sarve shankachakrabjapanayah drishyante divi devamsha cha mohayanti muhur muhur. When the Devatas see that the residents of Puri are four-armed residents of Vaikuntha holding Shankha Chakra and lotus in their hands, they faint numerous times. Vedavyasa also states that in the Kshetra, where the Supreme Absolute Truth is present in his wooden form, bestows liberation upon all who simply touch this land. Even if one has been addicted to all sinful reactions for several births, just sets his foot once on Jagannath Puri, he will take his birth later in the company of Vishnu, or in other words, he will attain liberation. Although the Lord is present in his Archavigraha form in many places, still, when one sees the Lord in his form as Lord Jagannath in Purushottam Kshetra, one feels immediate relief from all his miseries. Just the glimpse of Lord Jagannath in Purushottam Kshetra is enough to grant one the highest perfection. So, like this, the Vaishnavas were stating from various scriptures that not only is Mahaprasadam so important, just setting your foot in the land of Jagannath Puri can grant one liberation. So, when Gopakumar heard all this from the visiting Vaishnavas, he developed some kind of unexplainable attraction towards Lord Jagannath. Now, Gopakumar, he had not heard such facts, such great facts about the Lord in all these days, though he was worshipping Lord Vishnu in his kingdom on the shore of the river Ganges. He was worshipping Lord Vishnu. And he had heard from various scriptures about the glories of the Lord. But for the first time, he heard so many glories about a particular dham, so many glories about Mahaprasadam, and this really moved his heart. At this point, actually, Gopakumar had not developed a very firm faith in the attachment of the worship of Vishnu that he was doing. He was worshipping Lord Vishnu in his particular country. He was taking darshan and he was very reverentially arranging for the worship of Vishnu. But still, his faith was not very, very firm. He was not very attached to the worship of Lord Vishnu. He had not developed this firm faith or attachment because it was a combined influence of his spiritual master and his worshipable deity, the deity of the mantra that he was chanting. Because of the combined influence of his guru and the mantra that he was chanting, it made him in such a way that he did not develop a firm faith in the worship of the deity of Vishnu that he was performing in his country. So his faith or his attachment to that particular form of Vishnu had not yet been established. That is the reason when he heard the glories of Jagannath from the visiting Vaishnavas, his mind immediately got attracted towards Lord Jagannath. So, what did he do? He gave all the responsibilities of a king to the relatives of the older king who was there before him. He submitted all the responsibilities to them. He left the kingdom, and for some reason, he was drawn, he was attracted towards the glories of Lord Jagannath and Purushottam Kshetra, and he started moving towards Orissa to see Lord Jagannath. So he abandoned everything, he gave away all his responsibilities, and he started walking towards Jagannath Kshetra. Now, Gopakumar was telling this story to the Pragjotishpur Brahmin who was listening to him, right? So he's sitting there in Keshi Tirtha and he's telling his story about how, step by step, how he started moving from Govardhan. He went to the banks of the Ganges. He met the person who was worshipping Shalagram. Then he went to the capital city. There he became a king. There he started worshipping the deity of Lord Vishnu. And then He saw Mahaprasadam in that area was not being honored properly. So therefore, exactly at that time, he heard Vaishnavas coming from Jagannath Puri, speaking about the glories of Mahaprasadam, speaking about the glories of Lord Jagannath. His heart was now attracted and he wanted to go to Jagannath. So Gopakumar was telling his story like this to the Pragjyotishpur Brahmin. Then he continued telling the Brahmin, my dear Brahmin, my mind was so attracted to Lord Jagannath that by then I just thought, it is meaningless to sit there in the country. And I quickly set off to go and see this beautiful form of Lord Jagannath. As I entered this beautiful city of Puri, I was paying my obeisances to all the residents in that place. Everyone looked so splendorous. Everyone looked like they had already attained liberation. So I was offering prayers and falling down on the ground as in Tandavats, paying my obeisances to them. And finally, I reached the beautiful temple grounds. There, from a distance, I saw this beautiful moon-like face of Lord Purushottam. His broad, blooming eyes were shining brightly. His forehead was decorated with tilak that was made of gems. His complexion was glowing like a fresh monsoon cloud. And just the effulgence of his reddish lips looked so attractive. His satisfying smile that was radiating from his face was looking like moon rays. They were so cooling. I was just instantaneously struck with love for him. My body was trembling in ecstasy and I just couldn't move forward. Somehow or the other, I managed to reach the Garuda Stamba. And there I was holding on to the stamba, and my hairs on the body was standing on its ends, and my vision was clouded with tears. I just couldn't even see the Lord clearly because of all this ecstasy that was manifesting from within. There, I managed to clear out my eyes and see Lord Jagannath again and again. Lord Jagannath was looking so beautiful, so beautiful. He was bedecked with fine jewelry. He was wearing such lovely garments. And just seeing him, I became so ecstatic. He was sitting there so playfully on his throne, and he was looking at all his devotees who were there to serve him. The devotees were dancing and singing and offering prayers to him, and Lord Jagannath was bestowing his mercy, glancing at all his devotees. Seeing all this, seeing the beauty of Lord Jagannath, seeing all that was happening around me, I just lost composure and I fainted down. So slowly, after I fainted, I came back to my senses. I opened my eyes and again I gazed upon him again and again. And at one point, I just couldn't control myself. I was so overcome with love for Lord Jagannath that I started running towards him with my hands stretched out. All that I wanted to do is go and catch Jagannath and grab him and push him to my heart. So I started running like that. And finally, I was so happy. I was shouting out, saying, I've seen my Lord. I've waited for you for all these years. Finally, I have seen my worshipable Lord. I have seen the Lord of the universe, Lord Jagannath. My Prabhu, my master, you are here. He said like that. And he said, I went running to catch hold of him. Because at that time, I felt for the very first time, I perceived all the characteristics of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. That was my first vision of the Supreme form of the Lord. And I just couldn't control myself when I saw this beauty of the Lord. When I went to grab him, the guards struck me and they started beating me and they pushed me away and they prevented me from doing the aparad of going and touching the Archa Vigraha and embracing him inappropriately. So I was beaten up and I was thrown outside. So this is actually when we read Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita also, we see how Lord Chaitanya had a very similar experience. So when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Jagannath Puri, upon seeing this beautiful form of the Lord, actually similarly, in a very similar fashion, Lord Chaitanya went and his whole body began trembling. and he fell unconscious in his ecstasy. At that time, the guards in the temple, they thought of him to be some kind of pretender, and they were about to beat him and push him physically outside. But then exactly at that time, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he was present there, and he could see that there were some uncommon symptoms of spiritual emotions that was there in the body of Lord Chaitanya. So, although Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya had not seen Lord Chaitanya before, just the beauty of his golden form captivated his heart so much that he prevented the guards from touching Lord Chaitanya, and very carefully he took Lord Chaitanya to his house, and he carefully analyzed the bodily features of Lord Chaitanya, and he saw the condition of the Lord. So he could understand that there were still symptoms of life, though it appeared that Lord Chaitanya's pulse had stopped. There was no flow of blood, and he externally appeared like, a dead person, but still Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya could clearly analyze that these were symptoms of ecstasy. He got a fine piece of cotton and he kept it near the nose of Lord Chaitanya, and he could see that it was slightly moving. So he could make out that Lord Chaitanya was indeed alive, but he was manifesting these ecstatic symptoms that is so uncommon. So then later, of course, as the story goes, Damodar Pandit, Nityananda Prabhu, Jagadananda Pandit, they all came in search of Lord Chaitanya, and they were trying hard. Everyone was trying hard to bring back Lord Chaitanya to consciousness. And finally, after chanting the Harinam, Lord Chaitanya arose from his ecstatic trance. So we see that even Lord Chaitanya exhibited similar symptoms. Anyway, so Gopakumar, after exhibiting all these symptoms and fainting and trying to go and catch hold of Lord Jagannath, he was kicked out mercilessly. And then he came out, and then he thought to himself that, it is good. It is actually good that I was kicked out. Otherwise, I would have made an offense. I would have just, inappropriately gone and embraced the Archavigraha form of the Lord. So Gopakumar said, he continued to tell the Brahmin, I came out of the temple, and then I saw outside there was Mahaprasadam. So when I saw Mahaprasadam, I gladly went there and I honored the remnants of the Lord. And I was so ecstatic tasting this Mahaprasadam. I had heard so much glories about Mahaprasad of Lord Jagannath. And when I tasted it, my ecstasy increased. But then I just couldn't stop seeing Lord Jagannath. I had so much desire to go back and take darshan of Lord Jagannath. So I ran inside again. And the happiness that I was feeling in my heart, I'm just unable to describe it. Like this, regularly, I would go again and again and again to the temple to take darshan of this Lord Jagannath. All that I wanted to do was just to go and see the beauty of Lord Jagannath and look at him for hours together. There would be such beautiful festivals in Jagannath Puri. Every evening there was a festival. The Lord would be decorated so nicely. He would be ornamented so beautifully. All the devotees would worship him. They would take flowers and they would throw flowers at him. I would see all these evening festivals every day. And I thoroughly enjoyed my stay in Jagannath Puri. Every day, the only thing I would think of is I must wake up, go and see the beauty of Lord Jagannath. So this became my everyday routine, and I began to stay in Jagannath Puri like that. My desire that time, when I was in Jagannath Puri, was just to see the beautiful face of Lord Jagannath. I didn't have attraction for anything else. In fact, my separation from Rajabhumi had started reducing at that time. Nothing other than the sight of Lord Jagannath actually attracted me. I started losing interest in hearing from Puranas, and I even stopped chanting my mantra. I actually became indifferent to chanting my mantra. I stopped chanting my mantra. I stopped hearing from Puranas. All that I would do is go and stand in front of Lord Jagannath and drink his beauty every day. Nothing really attracted me. Any physical or mental distress I had, the minute I saw Lord Jagannath, everything vanished. So Jagannath became my life and soul. And my love for Jagannath grew so much, so intense, that I somehow wanted to do some personal service to him, just like how the pujaris would go inside the altar, go inside the personal quarters of Lord Jagannath and offer services. I wanted to enter the inner rooms. I wanted to go inside the temple. I wanted to serve Lord Jagannath as one of his personal attendants. Actually, my desire was so impractical. It was like a small child trying to raise his finger and touch the moon in the sky. It was so impractical. But still, I thought someday my desire would be fulfilled. However, on certain very important festival days, the great king of that area, the Chakravarti, would come to take darshan of Lord Jagannath. At that time, insignificant people like me, people who were not very important, we were asked to keep away from the temple. We were not allowed to enter the temple. Only VIPs, VVIPs, very important personalities were allowed to go close to Lord Jagannath. We would all be standing outside. Everyone was cordoned off because the king would come during those days. I felt a lot of separation. I just couldn't take the separation from Lord Jagannath. I was feeling very, very sick in my heart during those days. But then, on one of those days, I happened to see my spiritual master whom I met in Vrindavan. I saw him. I saw him coming. I saw him come and take darshan of Lord Jagannath. However, because I was so lost in my thoughts of separation from Lord Jagannath's beautiful face, I didn't notice where my spiritual master went. I caught a glimpse of him, but I didn't notice where he went because I was lost in the thoughts of Lord Jagannath. I felt so bad that I became a victim of Lord Jagannath's beauty and I missed an opportunity to go and talk to my spiritual master. So I went searching for him. I went searching for him everywhere, but I couldn't find him that day. But the next day, I found him on the shore of the ocean dancing in ecstasies of Nama Sankirtan. He was chanting the holy names of the Lord and he was dancing like a madman. I found him on the shores of the ocean. So I went running to him and I was prostrated in front of him and paid my obeisances and I greeted him. So when my spiritual master saw me there on the shores of the ocean, he gently lifted me, he embraced me, and he gave me his blessings. Then he told me something very important instruction. He told me, my dear boy, all that you desire in your heart, you will actually achieve by just chanting that mantra. Have faith in that mantra. Don't stop chanting the mantra. That chanting is your service to Lord Jagannath. It is non-different from the personal service that you're hankering to do. Chanting the mantra is non-different from the personal service you are trying to do to Lord Jagannath. Please chant your mantra. Have faith in that mantra. Never ever give up your chanting. Give it all priority. So this instruction is instructive to all of us, especially to me. Just by chanting, we can sincerely realize everything. But that faith should be there. That faith should be there. It often reduces, but it is a very important instruction that is common to everyone. Chanting is very important. So his guru told him again and again, just by chanting, everything becomes known. Don't take the process of chanting lightly. So Gopakumar's guru could clearly perceive that Gopakumar was neglecting his mantra. He was neglecting his mantra. So his guru told him, just chanting this mantra, all your desires will become fulfilled. You have so many desires, but everything will become fulfilled when you chant sincerely. And then his guru gave him 3 more blessings. He said, by the potency of the mantra that you are chanting, Gopakumar will live long enough to enjoy whatever he may desire, even if that involves traveling to higher planets, where life is much longer than what it is here. That is the first benediction. He will live a very long life. Second, he will always remain young without any old age or ailments, and he will always remain in the dress of a cowherd boy. This is the second benediction. That's why when Gopakumar met the Brahmin saw him in a cowherd dress, because this was a benediction that was given by his guru. Okay? The third benediction is that his mind would not become confused or agitated by immediate fulfillment of desires, because the mantra will keep his mind fixed on the ultimate goal of life, and he will have the right mature mentality of receiving the fruit of the mantra. Also, as a side effect, this mantra, chanting the mantra, will keep him ignorant of various heavenly realms until he actually enters that place. So, these are all the benedictions that were given along with the mantra. He said, by the potency of this mantra, I also give you 3 benedictions. Continue to chant this mantra. By the potency of the mantra, these 3 benedictions will be fulfilled. You will remain always without any old age or a disease. Wherever you go, you will have a long life. You will always have the beautiful form of a cowherd boy. You will remain in a cowherd boy's dress. You will not have a lot of information about other things. This he doesn't explicitly state, but it is there in the commentary that because of the effect of this mantra, Gopakumar will not have any information about higher planetary system. The third benediction that was given directly is that his mind would not become confused by immediate fulfillment of mundane desires. So, like this, his guru, he gave him the instruction that he should continue to chant the mantra, and along with this, he will have these 3 benedictions while chanting the mantra. And even at this time, his guru did not divulge details on how to chant the mantra. Remember, in the first initial session itself, we saw that when he received the Gopal mantra, the guru just gave the mantra, he started crying and he went away. Gopakumar didn't get details as to how to chant the mantra, whether he should chant it silently, at what time, what mudras he should do. Nothing, no specific instructions were given. Even now, when the spiritual master met Gopakumar, he told him that you should continue to chant the mantra. Okay. And he said, because of chanting this mantra, you will receive 3 benedictions. That's all. Still, he didn't give specific instructions on exactly, perfectly how to chant the mantra. And the spiritual master went away from there immediately. So, if Gopakumar was given all the particular, all the information perfectly about his sadhana, he would have attained perfection very quickly. He would have become perfect very quickly. And his traveling through various places wouldn't have happened. But as fate would have it, Gopakumar had to do more traveling and he had to have much more experiences before he could attain perfection. Therefore, the Guru purposely didn't give him further details and he went away from there. So, we will stop here and we will see what happened next to Gopakumar as a result of chanting his mantra further. Whether he continued to stay in Jagannath Puri, what happened after that, did he move away from there, what were the turn of events? That we will see in our next session. So, any questions, comments, corrections, realizations, please go ahead. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much for your very beautiful class. And you would have gone a little more further. Thank you so much. I have just one doubt, not a question as such. Maybe I missed the point you were mentioning that my mind was not fixed. So you were telling that when Gopakumara heard the glories of Lord Jagannath, he was immediately attracted to Lord Jagannath. So you were telling some reason because he was chanting the Gopala mantra and he was worshipping Lord Vishnu, and why he was not even fixed in the form of Vishnu, and then why he was attracted to Lord Jagannath.
Yeah. So it is in the commentary, Sanatan Goswami, he explains that because Gopakumar was given that particular Gopala mantra, because of the mercy of his guru and because of his chanting, he couldn't develop a complete attachment to the Vishnu form of the Lord because he was chanting Gopal mantra, right? So for the first time, when he heard glories of Lord Jagannath's beauty and all that, his mind got attracted towards Jagannath because Jagannath is, the form of Krishna, right, in separation. So he had some kind of attraction to that form because that is the first time he's hearing about Krishna actually from the Narayan Rupa from the 400 form. That's why he developed instantaneous interest to go and see how Lord Jagannath looked. Was that what you were asking?
It was just because of the power of that mantra.
Yes. Yeah, and the mercy of his guru. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Very wonderful.
Hare Krishna, Kamalaki Mataji. Thank you very, very much, Mataji.
Okay. I was in a meeting problem. Thank you very much. When I have read that it said that when he chanted his mantra, Gopal mantra, so even though he was there in a Vishnu temple, but then after chanting the mantra, he thought, and also he had a glimpse of, I think, of his soul.
Yes.
Yeah, so then he compared, then he said, no, this is not my own. And then he becomes disinterested and he wants to move further. It was not offensive, but he wanted to move further. Heard about Jagannath. Yeah. And here also, after he tells him, they don't start chanting. You should chant your mantra. And by mantra, you will get everything. Whatever you desire, you will get it.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you so much for adding. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. It's very, very wonderful to hear.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dandavad Pranam. Very, very beautiful narrations of pastimes, Mataji. Thank you so much. But again, last week also we have saw about Jagannath Prasad and that's very good. And today also very nice. Then Mataji. Very, very beautiful. One second, Mataji.
Thank you so much, Vinaya Mataji. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming, encouraging. Thank you.
Mataji, but why did you stop so early, Mataji?
Just to stop at an interesting point.
Thank you, Mataji, for two beautiful class.
Thank you, Vinaya Mataji.
Hare Krishna, yes, very excellent class, Mataji. We miss your assistance. Can you please continue your class for 10-20 minutes? Hare Bo, Jai Jai Shri Radhe.
Sure, Mataji. We'll surely can't. I mean, like actually, this time I stopped at I think 45 minutes. Usually I do 50 minutes. So surely next time we'll increase it. Yeah. I thought 10 minutes we'll keep for question answers and reflections. So.
Mataji, can you sing something, whatever you like?
Mataji, I want to hear you sing, Mataji. Why don't you sing for us this time? Vrinda Gopika Mataji.
Mataji, please sing my mother. Can you please sing, please?
Okay. What should I sing? What shall I sing, Mataji? You tell me. I'm not. You have any suggestions?
Mataji, Damodarastakam, please.
Okay, sure. I'll definitely sing. Yeah.
Just sorry to interrupt. I just one more question.
Yes.
Why this chapter is particularly known as Vairagya?
Why it's known as Vairagya, I don't know yet, but I will surely answer you in the next class. I don't know why it's known as Vairagya.
Sure. No.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji. Okay. नमामीश्वरं सच्चिदानन्दरूपं लसत्कुण्डलं गोकुले व्राजमानम् यशोदाभियोलुकालादवमानम् परामृष्टामत्यन्ततो धृत्य रुदन्तं मुहुर्नेत्रयुग्मं व्रजन्तम् कराम्भोजयुग्मेन सताङ्कनेत्रम् मुहुश्चुम्बितं मुहुश्वासकं पात्रीरिकाङ्ककान्ता स्थितग्रैवं दामोदरं भक्तिभदम् इति दृक्स्वलीलाभिरानन्दकुण्डे स्वघोषं निमज्जन्तम् आख्यापयन्तम् तदीयेषितज्ञेषु भक्तैर्जितत्वम् पुनः प्रेमतस्तं सता वृत्तिवन्दे वरं देवमोक्षं न मोक्षां वदीं वा न चण्यं वृणेऽहं वरिषादपीह इदं ते वपुर्नाथ गोपालबालम् सदा मे मनस्याविराष्टां किमन्यै इदं ते मुकाम्बोजम् अत्यन्तनीलैर्वृतं कुण्टलैः स्निग्धरक्तैश्च गोप्या मुहुश्चुम्बितं बिम्बरक्तादरं मे मनस्याविराष्टामलं लक्षलाभै नमो देवदामोदर अनन्तविष्णो प्रसीद प्रभो दुःखजलाब्धिमग्नम् कृपादृष्टिवृत्स्याति दीनं बतानो गृहाणीश मामज्ञामेदि अक्षिदृश्य कुबेरात्मजौ भक्तमुत्यैव यद्वत् त्वया मोचितौ भक्तिभाजौ कृतौ च तथा प्रेम भक्तिं स्वकामे प्रयच न मोक्षे ग्रहो मेऽस्ति दामोदरेह नमस्ते स्तुदाम्ने स्फुरदीप्तिदाम्ने त्वदीयोदरायात विश्वस्य धाम्ने नमो राधिकायै त्वदीया प्रियायै नमो नन्तलीलाय देवाय तोभ्यं हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Is that okay, Mataji?
Shri Shri Damodar Takam ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, jai jai Nityananda, jai jai Gauranga. That's what I'm saying. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you so much for singing so melodiously.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Priti Vilasya Mataji. Go ahead, Mataji.
Indu Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Priti Lakshmi Mataji, Dhanut Pranam. Thank you for a wonderful class. Mataji, we do have a lot of, I have a question. There is a lot of emphasis on always chanting. So chanting is very important. And so, right over here also, Gopakumar is also, he had neglected his chanting, right? And then he is doing other things, but a lot of other spiritual activities. Why is it that of all of those, although he is doing that and he is in a very ecstatic position, why is it still not complete without the chanting?
Yes. That's a good question. So this is what I also have this question. I've had this question several times and asked several people.
Krishna?
Oh yeah, sorry. Oh yeah, I was on mute. Sorry. So yes, that's a good question. Even I've had this question and I've asked several people about this question because even me, it's only natural that we get involved in so many other devotional services and chanting takes a back seat. Because you have to sit in one place and listen and chant with focus and sometimes for us to be active and do some other service that involves our senses is much easier because our senses are always seeking for some kind of engagement. So also when we talk about the 9 processes of devotional service, when we talk about Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Archanam, Padasevanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. So when oftentimes when we hear this verse, we also hear a point that one can perfect his life just by focusing on one process. Now, this is again appears to be like a contradiction, right? So it appears to be this question I've asked several times, Mataji. So I'll just try to give you the answers that I've heard from various people. So when one can perfect his life by just following one process, where is the need for chanting? Why is the focus there on chanting? So for this, I heard in one lecture, I think Rumpad Maharaj was giving a seminar on chanting, and there now I can't get the quote out, but I believe it's Jiva Goswami who was explaining this point that to sustain all the processes of devotional chanting, even if one may be able to attain perfection by intense listening, okay, for example, Shravanam. But in today's world, the kind of listening that we do, it is not really that intense, like how Parikshit listened. So for us to do that perfect listening, is actually a big issue. But even if one is able to do that kind of a perfect listening, still to sustain that, also one has to chant the holy names because the holy names has the potency to sustain any process. When Lord Chaitanya was asked this question by Balabhadra Bhattacharya and by Sanatan Goswami about the 9 processes of devotional service, which is the most important? They both of them asked this question to Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Chaitanya also gave the answer that chanting of the holy names is the most important because the holy names has the power, to actually award Krishna Prema. It has the power to award Krishna Prema. Not only does it have the power to award liberation, but it can award Krishna Prema. So anyway, Lord Chaitanya, when he was asked this question about which is the most important, Lord Chaitanya said one may be following several processes, but it is the chanting of the holy names that can actually give love of God to a person. So therefore, chanting sustains all other processes as well. For us to continuously do any other kind of devotional service, also we need the support of chanting. So chanting cannot be given up at any time. It is the and it by independently can bestow love of God. It is not dependent on other processes. Okay. So chanting independently can bestow love of God. Another point Jiva Goswami mentions is that he says that chanting is very independent because it does not require anything other than sitting. You can just do it without the help of other things. Like you can chant if you just chanting, you just need a mouth to chant, right? What else do you need? Supposing you have to listen, then you need a preacher, you need a person, you need a guru, you need to go and sit next to a guru and hear. Or in today's world, you need a laptop or you need some form of an audio format of some lecture to hear. So you're dependent on other things, okay? But chanting, even to practice chanting, it is an independent process. You're really not dependent on anything else. For deity worship, you should have access to deities. Like that, for each process, if you see, it is dependent on situations. There are certain situations that will help you perform that process of seva. But whereas when it comes to chanting, if you have a mouth, if you just have your body, you can execute chanting. So therefore, chanting is also independent in terms that it doesn't depend on any other process or any other circumstance. And it has the power to give Krishna prema. So that's why nama is very important. And even Diksha mantras that are given during second initiation, even those mantras also, they continue to chant. See, when a person becomes qualified to do deity worship, first he must get Diksha mantra. Because that chanting actually awards him that, what do you say, the purity and the capability of actually performing deity worship properly. So therefore, chanting takes the first seat in our bhakti process. This is a combination of all the answers I've heard. If there are any more answers anyone wants to add, you can please add. Yes, Mataji. Yes, very nice. Yeah. Hari Bol, yes. Bhagavad Gita, yeah, as it is said that Yajnanam Japa Yajñosmi. So he says among all the sacrifices, and also it is the sacrifice of this age, yes, Kali Yuga is Harinam Sankirtan. So it is the most potent process in this age of Kali. Yes. Thank you, Mataji, for that.
Thank you, Mataji, for your very valuable input. And for me, it's always very, I have to constantly bring myself back to, the point that yes, all of these might be there, but then you still need to focus on your chanting. I have some difficulty with that, following it consistently. So that's why I was asking. So he says chanting is the most important. It is not Sankirtan and it's not group chanting. Is it just individual? I mean, is there any...
No, it involves Sankirtan as well. It involves Sankirtan as well. Because chanting the holy names, which also involves congregational chanting. Nama, it's the Nama that is most important. You chant it to yourself, that is important. Chanting in a group is also important. Congregational chanting is also given equal benefit. Equal weightage, sorry, not benefit. But chanting your rounds for your personal sadhana is very important. That's a vow that you take. Yes. Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you, Kirti. That's very good. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare
Krishna. Thank you so much for the beautiful class. And thank you for the lovely reading of Damodar Ashtakam. And especially as the session is also very nice, Mataji. We are getting extra information. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you, Supriya Mataji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. I too am always asking that question about why it makes why chanting is the thing that makes devotional service complete, And I just wanted to maybe add a couple of things that I've heard from senior devotees. One is that although all the services are potent, but the chanting is most potent in enabling a person to remember Krishna throughout the day, throughout various activities. It has that potency over other processes.
No,
even though
Haribol.
they're all potent and they can all deliver perfection. And the other thing that I've heard also is that um, although all the 9 processes can yield perfection, but that's if we were to, if we were pure enough to do them constantly and continuously.
Right.
And many of us don't have that level of purity. We need to do different things throughout the day. We can't always just sit and read. We can't always just, worship the deities all day. We are not. We will become restless and want to do other things and engage our senses in different ways. So we need the chanting to supplement our various activities.
Very true.
In order to attain perfection. Actually, I'm just realizing, I do have one question also.
Mm-hmm.
You said that it is only the chanting that can yield love for Krishna.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was a little surprised by that because how is it that other processes will not also yield love for Krishna?
How is it that the other processes? No, they help us develop devotion and all that. But Krishna Prema is ultimately through chanting of the holy names. That's what we learn, right? Like unless we chant and we relish the holy name awards us Prema Bhakti. So
what is this distinction that you're making between Krishna Prema and the devotion that the other processes will yield? Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yes, go ahead, Mataji. Yes, go ahead.
This is a Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Is specifically given to our love of God. And yes, Prem. This is why it's given to us Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he also saying that, and he himself was also chanting Hare Krishna Mantra. And by that, chanting Hare Krishna Mantra in specific succession, when we receive the mantra, then we are qualified to develop love of God by chanting this mantra. And only Hare Krishna Mantra will be bestowing the Prem. This is what I have heard. Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Can I?
Yes, go ahead, Mataji. You can also add.
So it's not that the other processes doesn't need any result, but the thing is that all other processes of devotional service can only be perfected if we chant properly. So that is why it is said that the 99% of our devotional service is 100% based on our
chanting. Yeah.
If our chanting is good, our all other devotional practices, for example, cleaning in the temple, cooking in the temple, worshipping the deity, dressing the deity, because we relish the mood behind why we are doing and what we are doing and for whom we are doing. Right? So if our chanting is not pure, then all other activities will fall in the category of ritual. That yes, we have to do, so I'm doing it. But we want to do, so I really want to do it to please my Guru, to please Krishna, that will come to be a That is why they said that yes, they will yield results. It's not that they will not. My chanting is not good, or even if I'm not chanting, but still I'm cleaning the temples. It's not that the cleaning the temples will not affect it. It will, but definitely, but not 100%. Not 100% results will come. So chanting is good, or it is at least not good, but at least our all devotional services backed up with the chanting.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you for that. Gaurangi Mataji, is that okay? Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Is Mataji still there? Gaurangi Mataji? Okay, am I there? I'm there. Okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you so much, Kirtida Sundari Mataji. Yes. Okay. Anyone wants to ask anything or add anything? Any questions? Okay. Any realizations, anyone? Yeah.
Thank you, Mataji, for the beautiful class.
Oh, thank you, Vania Mataji. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mataji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, very beautiful class. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Shama Gauri Mataji. Dandavats. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much, Mataji, for your presence. Okay. Then we'll end the call. Thank you all so much for joining. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Shri Brhad Bhagavatamrta ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.
All glories to Hare Krishna. Mataji ki jai. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Goodbye.